Good evening. I'm Doris Hall James from The Indie Show. The Indie Show provides a platform to showcase an artist's musical journey from the beginning of their careers until the present. This evening, I bring to you the man and his sax, the legendary Sam Peake.
Hey,
How are you, Sam?
I'm so fine, so fine.
Good to see you.
It's good to be here. It
It's
really
good
is.
to be here.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a long, long time, right?
Yes.
But we're here and we're together.
God left us around to tell the story.
Yeah, and we're getting ready to tell the story.
Yeah,
Okay, we're
yeah.
getting ready to tell the story. Now, Sam, how did this music career begin with you? How did it all begin?
Okay, you're going to make me tell how old I am.
Well,
It's okay.
Okay.
I started playing music in Philadelphia, in the Philadelphia School District at Strawberry Mansion
Okay.
Junior High School in North Philadelphia.
Okay.
And I remember when I was young, my first year, I had pretty good marks, and they had an announcement on the intercom saying that if you have the right grades, that they had an opportunity for people that wanted to play music that they can play instruments.
Okay.
So I found out that I qualified. I had good grades, and all the teachers liked me. And so they asked me what instrument I wanted to play. I said violin.
Violin. Okay.
But I went home and told my mom that I wanted to play violin. She said, "Get out of here. You just want to play violin because your sister play violin."
Oh, okay.
It's
So that's what it was.
yeah. Well, I come out of a musical family.
Okay.
Okay. She said, "Well, why don't you play an instrument like the saxophone?" I didn't even know what a saxophone was.
Okay.
So I went back and told them I wanted to play saxophone, and they said, "Good, we got a saxophone for you." And they brought out a saxophone that was bigger than me. It was a baritone saxophone. So that's what I learned on. I learned on the baritone saxophone. Eventually, about a year and a half had went by, and there was a group called the Soul Deviants.
Okay.
And I'll never forget, they were just getting together. Gerald James and John Faison and Stewart. All three of them was getting together.
Yes.
And they knew that I played baritone saxophone. So I got with the band. I was playing baritone and they played. And we did pretty good. But eventually what happened, they added on.
Was that your first?
That's
band?
my first band.
Okay, all right.
The Soul Deviants. I never,
Yes.
We used to practice
yes.
right across the street from Strawberry Mansion, and I stayed with them for a while, but I was playing with them, but I was doing other things too. You know, I played
That's
with,
what musicians do.
yeah, I was playing with them, but I was getting the chance to play with other people, and then back then T Life was our idol.
Okay.
T Life?
Yes.
See, because a lot of people don't know that T Life was the guitar player for Frankie Beverly.
Yes.
It was
yes.
Frankie Beverly and the Butlers back then. And they would play, and they would come around, and we all looked up to them, right?
Yes.
And like, we used to always just idolize these guys, and then it was one of the drummers from the Impressions. His name was Junie. And they had Norman Roberts. He was younger than us. And Norman Roberts played the drums for the Temptations. It was a wonderful time back in Philadelphia in them days in some ways, because you can walk down the street and hear a trombone player practicing, a guitar player practicing, people singing. It was just a time for the
It was
arts.
a wonderful time.
A wonderful time for the arts. It just seemed like everybody was doing something with music, you know. Everybody, you had playing the guitar, playing the bass, playing the...
Music was everywhere.
Music, you could just
Yes,
walk down the
yes.
street. You could hear it everywhere.
Yeah.
You hear a group singing, and then you
Yeah.
had guys on the corner
Yes,
with their
yes,
wine
yes,
singing.
yes.
It's just wonderful time. So, like, that's how it started. It started with the Soul Deviants, you know,
Okay.
and then it branched out to other things.
How many instruments do you play?
Well,
Keyboard?
I always always say that I am a saxophonist,
Okay.
but I do play drums.
Okay.
I play a little bit of keyboards. I
Okay.
play a little trumpet,
Okay.
a little bit of trombone.
Oh, okay.
But I don't mess with them. I could probably could have got good on them instruments if I would have spent time on them. My instrument was the saxophone. See, the saxophone captive cap, captured all my attention because back then it was a lot of gang violence.
Yeah, because I wanted to ask you, how did that sax improve your personal life?
Well,
And a sax.
it improved it because back then, people don't know. When I was coming up, they had about 3 martial laws in Philadelphia, and when they had a martial law, they just cut the city off at 9 o'clock. It was so much gang violence, so much stealing and robbing, so much killing, and they were closing all the factories back then, and people were finding themselves without work. Okay, so people went to crime. Wherever you got poverty, you got crime. And so, like, it was all that going on, but music kept me away from that. I would usually be home somewhere playing my saxophone or
Yes.
going somewhere to
Yes,
play, you
yes,
know,
yes.
and my brothers and they came up in the gangs and stuff, and they sheltered me. When I started playing horn, they sheltered me away from all that. So I just played on my horn. People would come in the house, my mother and their father, friends. They would come in. They'd say, "Go play your horn for," and I would play.
Yeah.
You know, I had no problem playing the horn, and it just took just took everything that I had to do that. You know.
Was it someone that inspired you to
Well,
do
my
that?
father.
Your father.
He's a guitar player. He used to sing the old what you call it, that old Muddy Waters type stuff.
Okay.
You know, that old country
Yeah.
stuff. And he tuned the guitar different every time he played it. But I don't know how he did it. He got a shine. He get up there and start singing. And I tried to play guitar, but it was I just was too clumsy. So saxophone was perfect for me. I loved the saxophone. I mean, you couldn't stop me from playing. I would pull it out on the bus and play it. I'd play it on the street. All you had to do
And
is
you
say,
could tell you loved the saxophone.
I
You
loved
could
it. All I wanted to do was play. I mean, I loved it. I love it now.
Yeah.
I'm getting old now, so having some physical issues, but
But we all are. But you still.
I love it.
you still love it.
I don't. If I couldn't play the horn, I don't know. But I know
Sam.
God will always get me through. But I just love playing the horn.
Well, Sam, do you remember your very first gig?
Yeah, I remember
Who was that with?
my first gig was with a man named Nate Murray.
Nate Murray?
Yeah, at Neat's Bar, 52nd and
Because he assassinated
Market and Paxson, right down the corner. They used to sneak me in. I was young. I was only 11, 12 years old.
Oh, my.
They let me come in there. But see, when I was young, I used to could dance. I was a ham. It didn't make no difference. And then I met this guy named Phil Marshall. His name was Phil Marshall, and we called him Snakebite.
Okay.
And Snakebite said, "Yo, come here, young boy. Let me show you what you do. I'm gonna show you how you get some money."
Okay.
And because he liked the way I played. And this guy traveled around to hear me play until the day he died. He's an old man, and I loved him so much. And he said, "Look, take that saxophone when they do that slow song." He said, "I want you to walk all the way around the bar like when you play that
all right,
song."
okay.
He said, "Stop over here near me first." And I went over there, and Snakebite would put a $20 bill in the horn. And by the time I got around the bar, I couldn't play a note. It was so stuffed with money.
Isn't that something?
Yeah, and then I used to go there and play every week. And as a young man, back in the 70s and the late 60s, $200 or $300 a week, that's a lot of money for a young man.
So tell me, I can tell you love being a musician.
I sure
Well,
did.
I mean, what is it about it that you love? I mean, you love playing the sax. You write songs. You're a songwriter, producer, composer.
But
You love all phases of it, right?
yeah, but the saxophone, see, you know, you got to understand what was going on back in Philly then.
Mm-hmm.
It was like I was watching my friends getting their head blow off right in front of my house and getting stabbed and getting killed in the gang violence. They would have gang wars right on my street, and it'd be like 100 men, 50 coming this, 50 coming this way, 50 coming this way, and then when they finished, be dead bodies laying in the middle of the street. And see, a lot of people don't know that part about Philadelphia. You know, the young folks don't.
I don't remember any of that.
Yeah, I remember it. I remember it very much active. I remember the Columbia Avenue riots and how they started, how the men broke into the Italian jewelry store and killed everybody in there, and that's how the riot started, okay? I lived right around the corner from there, so I'd seen all of this kind of stuff. And so, like, my saxophone, as a young man, you can imagine being 11, 12 years old, watching this stuff. My saxophone was like a security blanket to me.
I can understand.
Yeah, it was the thing that I would take and would hide away and play, you know. And, like, it was just so much. I remember seeing one of my friends get stabbed. His name was Fred, right on the corner of my house. And that thing did something to me, you know. I'd see them get stabbed right there. And then they had another guy get shot right in the middle of the street. You know,
you had to overcome a lot of problems.
Well,
a lot of violence and all
well, trying to overcome it myself, it caused other issues to come into my life. Okay? The thing about it, as a young man, I just knew that it had to be a better way. I just didn't believe life was what I was seeing. I thought that maybe if I got away from this and go somewhere else, that life would be different. Okay? You know, things ain't changed that much in Philadelphia these days.
What kind of things develop from you seeing all of this violence? I mean, what type of things? What other things?
Well, I ran away from home because I stopped playing and making so much money in the weekend. I stopped going to school, and my father and mother said if they were going to take my horn away from me, and that was the worst thing they could have said to me at that. So I packed a little bag. I never forget. I took a brown paper bag. I was a young boy. Young boy. I had a paper bag. Like they used to have paper bags in the market, big ones. I put some clothes in there, and I took my horn, and guess what? Matter of fact, Larry James and Charles Reed, they were going on they were older than me. And Charles Reed and Larry, they put together a band from up Somerset Street. They had the Twins in it and Billy Ross. And we went on a carnival. And Wild Man Steve, the comedian, it was his show, the Wild Man Steve show. And we traveled, and they said, Sam, don't tell them how old you are. I said, well, how old am I? He said, you're 18. So I was maybe 13 and a half, but I was a big boy. And I got away with it for about a month. But when Wild Man Steve found out how old I was, he started taking advantage of me. He started paying, the band was making so much, he cut mine in half. And then there was a lady on the show, her name was Stormy. She was a burlesque lady, and I think she was messing with Wild Man Steve, because she told Wild Man Steve, why you treating him like she liked me? Why you treating him like that? He's just a young boy. He shouldn't even be out here. And I found myself, he fired me up in upstate New York. I never forget it. And I had to work my way all the way back home.
How did you get back home?
On the carnival.
Okay.
But I was not playing as a musician. I was working with one of the caterers that sold hot sausage and stuff like that. I was working with them. They gave me a job so I could make money all the way back home.
To get back home.
Yeah. And so I traveled with the train back to Philadelphia, and it was a great experience. And I ran away from home. I'll never forget it. When I came back, I seen my father. He grabbed me by the back of my collar. My mother was so happy to see me.
Yes, God bless.
And
Yes.
I got back in school, and my grades were all right for a little while. But they started going down again, and I had to run away again.
And that was because why were they going down again, Sam?
Because I was playing so much with so. You gotta understand. Back then the Uptown Theater was open.
Yes, yes.
And that's where everybody wanted to be. And I happened to know McFadden Whitehead, right? Before, this was years ago. And McFadden Whitehead, especially Whitehead, they liked me because they seen me play with the Soul Valiant somewhere. And they seen me at the Uptown Theater. They said, well, that's that young boy that was playing that horn. Oh, man, so get his number. So they got my number, and we become real good friends. And by that time, Larry had got a job with the Eminems.
Yes, I was okay.
The Eminems, Smaxy and them, they had a song out called One Heart. But then Smaxy died, and Larry and them start backing up the Manhattans. And I
was only about 16, 17 then.
I was younger than that. I was about 14, 15. And Larry and them went with, and I started playing with the Epsilons, McFadden Whitehead. And then they broke up the Epsilons, and Whitehead got me a job with Hal Melvin.
Oh, my goodness.
But
great.
Hal Whitehead was always a good friend of mine. He really was good friends. He just loved me, and I loved him, as two young boys, And like when I got with the Blue Notes, Hal taught me the ropes. And this was the old Blue.
I've heard a lot of people say that.
Well, he taught me. He toughened me up for the music business. Now, you can say anything you want to say about Hal, but I'm going to tell you, if you went to the Hal Melvin School, then you understood what the music business was about back then,
Okay.
Because he taught you the ropes, okay? And like if you left out of there, you knew how to survive in the music. And and Hal always sheltered me. He liked me as a young man. And they had an old saying. They say as a young man, Hal turned me out, okay? And see, like a lot of people don't use that term no more. He turned me out as a young man, and he had me doing stuff I ain't never did before. And but going through that school, you know everything.
You knew it all.
You know it all. So like I've traveled with Hal for a long time, and then from there, after I left Hal. Because me and him got in an argument, so we always get in some stupid argument, I left him, and because he said something to me that I didn't appreciate.
Okay.
He told me, you'll never be nothing and this and that. I said, wait a minute. I looked at him, I said, man, get out of there. I'm somebody. I was a young boy. I said, I'm somebody. What are you talking about? I ain't going to never be nobody. Get out of there. I'm not to play for you. And I left him. And when I came back to Philadelphia, I was working with local groups like the New Day, Llewellyn McClendon, and I was working around town with different groups. And then I met a group called the Masters of Time.
Okay.
And
they were here in Philly?
Yeah, okay. They were. The Masters of Time, actually, when Sonny and Little Sonny and them guys died, they became the new Intruders.
Okay.
And Glenn Montgomery and Murphy and.
Oh man, what a history!
Yeah, and them guys. But we went over the Masters of Time. We went overseas, and we were good over there.
Did you enjoy that traveling and performing in it? Did you enjoy that?
Well, I was a man without a home. Remember, I ran away from home.
The second time.
Yeah, I didn't go back. Really, never. My mother, she loved me. She tried to. But when I got over there, I went overseas. We was only supposed to go for 6 months. Them guys got homesick, and they went home after 6 months. I stayed. I said, y'all go ahead. I woke up, they left me, took the money and everything. I was just stuck over in the Philippines. And I said, well, okay. I didn't know the language. I didn't know anything. But the club owner over there, he's a millionaire named Lito Direct. And they had Man and some more. They were partners. They owned hotels and they had casinos and they had clubs. They loved me. And they made me the manager of their club
Okay.
at a young age.
Okay.
I was only about 15.
Lessons were everywhere.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
they made me the manager. I said, well, I don't know. They said, you don't have
At
to.
15?
Yeah, they said, you ain't got to count no money or nothing. All you got to do is when the people come in, let them come in, help them, sit them down.
Feed 'em.
He said, and when it's time to play, go up there and play. And guess what? All your expenses are paid, and all you
Oh,
got to do
wow.
is just pick up a
Yeah.
check from us every week. I said, well, that sounds like a pretty good deal. So I played with them, and they got me in about, these are millionaires. They got me in about 6 movies in the Philippines. I played in about 6 movies. And then after, I met Pam Grier over there for the first
Oh,
time.
wow.
Yeah, she was doing a movie while I was doing a movie. And like, she was a
good
very
stuff.
nice lady. I'll never forget her. She was very nice. She was real sweet to me, too. She was young. I was young, too. And she was just a sweet lady. You know, she'd sit down and we'd talk. I guess only because I was only the one of the very few brothers over there at that particular time. But I never forget it. And I played at all the casinos, and then I said, well, since I'm over here and I'm loving on the Philippines so much, I might as well get my GED. So I got my GED at the University of
Yes,
Philippines.
that's good.
And once I got my GED, one of Marcos, the President Marcos' friends, he made it so that I could get 2 years unaccredited, but 2 years of harmony of theory in the Philippines. And so when I left the Philippines, I could write for a 16-piece
Well,
orchestra.
see, that was a gift, right?
Yeah, so
that was a gift.
yeah, I mean, it was a blessing.
That was a blessing. That was a plan. You know, it was all in the plan.
It was God's plan.
Yeah, it was in the plan.
Yeah, and when I learned how to write for the orchestra, the
Oh.
16-piece orchestra, I traveled all throughout Southeast Asia, Japan, Singapore, Hong Kong, Thailand, Vietnam. I traveled all through the area, and everywhere I went, I had anywhere from a 12 to a 16-piece band behind me. And I did my own show called The Big Sam Show. Because I was so big and much bigger than everybody over there, so they called me Big Sam, you know?
Well,
So-
how did you have a personal life? At that time, were you married or were you dating
I was,
or anything?
I was wilding out. You gotta
Wilding
understand.
out.
You gotta understand. I was raised by whores and pimps. I seen a guy on the bus today. He's one of my old friends. He said, "You still pimping?" Well, he knew me because he said that because he know me from way back when, and he knew me because I got molested by a woman.
Okay.
And most
That's
people,
not good.
most people be talking about the effect that a woman has when a man molests her, but they don't understand what happens when a
Other
woman
way
molests a
around,
man.
right?
Women had to pay all the way around because I was young.
In your life, they had to pay.
They had to pay,
to pay.
everything to pay everything. I did everything I did was to hurt them because she hurt me. She made me feel like I was dirt, like I was nothing. Okay, so my
So
thing
that
is
was inside of you.
that was inside of me, you know. So like that's the kind of life I was living back then. I was living a reckless, crazy life over in Asia, and I did finally get married over there. I married the ambassador of Liberia, daughter. Her name is Joyce Johnson. Her father was Martinez Johnson, and if they wouldn't have had a coup, he would have been the next president of Liberia. But because of Kenny Gamble, when they went in the coup, my ex-wife went down there and talked to him, and they sponsored him back, and he became one of the deans for Michigan State. So like, I had personal life, But I was living so reckless. I mean, you got to understand that as a young man out in the, it's just when you're out there in the street at a young age and you're just out of control and nobody there to tell you what's right or wrong and you're just doing whatever you think
Yes,
you is
yes,
big
yes.
enough and bad
Yes.
to do. You're living reckless and you don't
You
even
live in a dangerous life.
yeah, and you don't even know
Yes.
what the damage that you're doing to yourself. By the time I come back to Philadelphia after living over in Southeast Asia for those many years, I had a habit longer than Broad Street.
Well, let's say hi to our Facebook fans and friends. Just
Hello, everybody.
Take 1 minute and let's go this list. Let's go over this list. We have some people here. Gil Lomax joined. Hi, Gil. Donnie Tatum. Hi, Donnie. How are you? Bassman. Thanks for joining us. Steve Green.
Yeah.
You can say hi to these
Hey, Steve.
Yes. Steve Green is on. Jessica. Thank you, Jess.
Hey.
And Steve Green is saying hi, Sam.
Yeah.
Okay. Regina. Hi, Regina. How are you? Thanks for joining. Jessica says, hey, Doris, Gil, and Sam. The top of the evening to you. That was the golden age of music.
Yeah.
Yes, Jessica, it was. We have T Life on.
Hey, T.
Bassman said he should write a book, and I think he has a surprise for you, Bassman. Okay, thank you, Denise, for joining in. Hello, Denise, how are you? T said, hi, guys, Doris and Sammy, me boy. He meant to say my boy. Nadine Thambro, hi, Nadine.
Hey.
And Helen Johnson, hi, Helen. And Nadine says, hey, Samuel, please love the sound of your horn.
All right.
Okay?
Okay.
Love
I
the
should
sound
have
of
brought
your
it
horn.
with me.
Yeah, we should have brought that horn. Tell us about your overseas exploits. That was T Life. That's what we're talking about now. Jessica says, I remember singing in the subway at 29th and Lehigh coming from the uptown with my home girls. The white cops would tell us to be quiet and hurry home before they would take us in. Good old days. Nadine says, hey, Sam, keep doing what you're doing.
All right now.
And thank you, Denise, for watching. Carlos joined. Jessica said, I remember, but had protection. Someone needs to write about this history. Carlos
They just
said,
don't know, right?
Carlos said, hey, my brother.
Hey, Carlos.
It's so good to see you live on the indie show.
All right, Carlos.
We go a long way back.
Oh, we do,
Hope
Carlos.
to see you soon. God bless you, my brother. Matt Green joined. Hi, Matt. Carlos says, you definitely told the truth about Harold Melton. I was with him for 10 years. Theodore Life says, what an amazing story, Sam. The real deal. T Life always
Hey,
says,
TT. Hot tea.
Do you speak Japanese?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay, because that's what she said.
T knows a little bit more than most.
Hi, Yvonne. Thanks for joining us. Okay, T says, Sam, you're skipping your story. Jeff Washington joined. Hi, Jeff.
Hey, Jeff. Happy birthday, Jeff.
Jeff Washington, ex-bandmate.
Yeah,
Jeff Washington.
Jeff
Okay.
was in the band.
T Life said, write a book.
Yeah. It's in the making.
Mike and Chrissy from Mount Enon is listening.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Right. That's my church.
Okay, is that your church? And then it says, Jeff Washington, yo, Sam, we made some good music together.
We sure did.
Oh. Now,
I really love
when did you
you.
work with Jeff Washington? What was it? Tell me a little bit about
Jeff Washington, guitar player. Oh, excellent guitar player and singer.
Okay, let me just say one other thing and say this portion of the Indie Show was sponsored by Yasmin Clean Cuts at 864 Hatfield Street in Philadelphia. Her hours are Saturday from 9 to 7 and Sunday from 11 to 4. Thank you, Yasmin, for sponsoring this portion of our program. Okay, how did you fit it all in? How did you fit all of this in?
I really didn't fit it in. God fitted it in.
Okay.
And it was part of his plan. And I'm going to tell you something. I'm very fortunate because you got a lot of people can't imagine being overseas at 15 and 16 on your own.
No.
And when they had martial law in the Philippines, I remember waking up and the military pointing rifles to my head. And I had to go to certain places with soldiers behind me because over there they had the very rich and the very poor. And all the rich people had their own.
Divided up.
No, well, it's just the rich and the poor. And the rich people had their own private armies.
Okay.
And so, like, if
Wow.
I was working for
Right.
Manning some more and Lito Direct, they had their own army. And they had to, some of them people had to travel around with me when I went different places. It was a very dangerous time in the Philippines in martial law. It's impossible for me to sit here and tell you about every different areas of my life. It's just impossible. I can give you little parts here and a little parts there, but I can tell you when I came back to the United States,
Okay.
it was almost like Gamble and Huff was waiting for me. When I came back, McFadden and Whitehead and McFadden seen me, and let me tell you something. And Whitehead, they seen me, they said, man, it's like they
Oh.
had been looking for me for years, and they just hugged me.
Yes.
And Whitehead put his hands around me and slapped me, said, where you been? And, you know, I was like a little brother to him. And they took me down to the Gamble and Huff, and they allowed me to play for Huff. I never forget it. I played for Huff. And Huff heard me play. And next thing you know, I was playing on every record coming out of there.
Isn't that something?
And-
God bless you.
and,
God, that was great.
I met, and me and T, even though T was one of my idols, by this time, me and T had became friends because he was playing in the studios too. And he was liking the way I was playing.
Yes,
I was
yes.
digging on his talent. He was
Okay,
digging
shout
on my
out to T,
talent.
right.
So then we became a team together. At that particular time, I had a group. I don't know if any people remember them. They was Confunction.
Confunction, yeah.
That was my band, and I had signed with Gamble and Huff as a recording artist, and I went down to Memphis to get demos and stuff. But when I came back, it seemed like all the materials that I had got, they allowed me to record it, but I wasn't recording it with Confunction. I was recording it with MFSB Orchestra, and they left the stuff on the shelf. So I was still had as a musician, I had a career playing with Gamble and Huff as a musician.
Yes.
But me and T, we went to New York, and T, John Fitch, and a couple of other people, we got behind Evelyn Champagne King, and I assisted T on the productions.
And you're on that sax when it
Yeah,
opens up, right?
yeah, I played sax
Yeah,
on.
okay.
I sing on some of the stuff. I think I played keyboards on some of that stuff. The second album, I did a lot of the writing, and me and T Life was we used to write together.
Okay.
So, like you was asking about collaboration. I collaborated with
yeah.
a lot of different people, and then we had working with Life Galaxy Productions. We produced a whole bunch of people. We had Phyllis Hyman, we had Vicky Sue Robinson, we had Thomas Bucknasty Band, we had it was just other groups. I can't remember them all. We was just doing so much work there. I think we even had a chance to have Aretha one time, Aretha Franklin, and because we were hot because when that song Shame broke.
Yes, that was the song, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
and T called me up one day
Yes.
and he said, Sam, you're nominated for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame playing the saxophone. I said, get out of there.
Congratulations,
And then he
son.
showed me on the paper. You know, I said, wow, that was a great achievement as a saxophone player. And I really always considered myself as a saxophone player, not a jazz musician, but as an R&B saxophone player. My idols was like King Curtis and Junior Walker.
R&B.
Yeah, and they the R&B sax players, you know. Yeah, it's just like B.B. King and George Benson. I always looked at myself as an R&B saxophone player. I can get around on, and I can get around on R&B better than some jazz folks come and jump on it. I can get on, I can jump right in there, and like that's what helped me. And it's not that I knew so much musically and was know so many notes. It's just that I know everything I played. I put my heart in,
Yes, you love that.
and I put my heart in, and people knew I put my heart in it. And it wasn't that I was so great of a saxophone player, but if they wanted real soul, real heart, you know, and they used to call me a one-take artist. They didn't have to run the reel 3 or 4 times for me to get it.
You went in the studio and did it all?
Yeah, I go and play with the rhythm section. I play with them. It didn't even make no difference. If I went in there, if I heard the track one time, I could play it.
So all you guys went in together?
Yeah,
At that time?
I was the only horn player.
Right,
That
but
we-
the
we-
rhythm section was in there together.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they put me in with the rhythm section. Yeah, and like it always worked out. Shame was one take.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't practice that. T played the track. He put me in there. I played it, and he said, "That's it." And guess what?
Okay.
I never had to overdub nothing or anything. It was done. It was done, and I don't know if it's right. I played that with the rhythm section, and they did the track while they were cutting. I was playing. So back then, if the sax played with the rhythm section, some of the horn would sometimes bleed into the.
Yeah.
So I couldn't do it over.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So that was one take too.
That was great.
Yeah, so, I mean, but we was making music. We was playing real R&B music.
R&B.
And see,
Just
blues,
shout out to R&B.
yeah, blues
okay.
is one
Yes,
thing.
yes.
But these young folks, they don't know that there's an art in rhythm and blues. Okay? See, now music is all over the top. You see, because everybody will show what they know, how many notes they can play. But rhythm and blues is simplistic. Okay? All them guys that played in Motown, those were jazz musicians. Okay? James Brown, rhythm and blues, they were jazz musicians.
Yes.
Okay? And so you have to understand there's a great deal of simplicity that comes along with playing rhythm and blues, you know. So like I love rhythm and blues.
And I do too, Sam.
Yeah.
I love rhythm and blues, and like sometimes we'll go out and they'll play. You know, nowadays they play all types of music, and I'm lost in the crowd because if I don't hear rhythm and blues, I can't relate to the music. You know, but that's what they do now. They play all different kinds of music. Our kids, they like my grandkids, they like the pop music. You know, that kind of stuff. They don't know anything about rhythm and blues.
Well, let me tell you,
You know?
one of the greatest rhythm and blues groups I ever played for was Instant Funk.
Instant funk.
Let me tell you, those are my boys. And T-Life, that was all Instant Funk. T-Life, Scotty Miller, Kim Miller, Raymond Earl, you know, and we would play. Sometimes I remember times when they got together and played at some of my gigs. I would play at their gigs, but basically we were Bunny Sigler's
Okay,
band.
all right.
Okay, and like we played on all Bunny Sigler stuff, but all that stuff ain't no stopping us now. McFadden and Whitehead, a lot of the groups that you heard come out of Philly International was Instant Funk. Okay, playing that music. And
Shout out to you, Kim and Earl.
yeah,
Thank you.
them
Thank
guys
you.
was fantastic. I still play with them.
Yeah, I think you told me that. I
Yeah,
think
man, let me
said-
tell you, Kim would call me up, say, Kim, Sam, come on, make it. I come shoot up there. I was with Raymond Earl last week. you know, and Raymond got his studio up in Trenton. I go up there and all the tracks that I work on, I work with Raymond, you know. So we're still all together. We're still doing stuff, you know what I mean? So
Okay.
I'm happy about that.
That is really great. Now, I need to interrupt you because I need to go back. I need to go back here. Carlos is saying, well, Gil Saunders joined. Pete Rudd joined.
Hey, Gilly! Pete Rudd!
What a wonderful brother, Gil said.
Yeah.
Carlos is saying, Big Sam, do you remember when we used to play at the Hideaway Lounge on 62nd and Catherine?
I remember, Carlos, you was just, when we was young, you was such a rough guy, man.
Jenkins, Sid Simons, Doug Grisby. Doug comes down to the Top Shelf Lounge on 56 and Market Wednesday nights. My band, Doris, tell them about Philly Live Radio on Tuesday nights. I will, Carlos. James Lee joined. Regina, wow, what a story. James Lee said, love you, Sam.
Love you too.
T says, we're in the world of history books. Amen. Steve Green said, Instant Funk and Breakwater live at the Ardmore Music
Steve
Hall.
Green is
March
my
30th.
man, my brother in the Lord.
And T said, great interview. So I want to go
Wait a minute,
back.
he said March 30th?
Yeah, I want to go back and say this. Wait a minute. Let me go back and find this. Let me take a second and find this. Instant Funk and Breakwater.
Mm-hmm.
They're live at the Ardmore Music Hall, March 30th.
Okay.
And I knew about that. So it was one other I need to say. Oh boy, I can't. Let me see. Okay, so Carlos wants me to tell you about his new radio show on Philly Live Radio.
Okay.
Carlos is on every Tuesday night. His show really starts from 9 to 10.
Mm-hmm.
And Carlos' show is called Let's Go Back
Okay.
on Philly Live Radio.
All
So
right.
I'll give you all the information.
All right, Carlos.
And he gives you that quiet storm
Yeah.
feel.
So we'll give that information out before we leave. But right now,
Hey, Carlos, I heard you sing the other night, man. You sound wonderful, man.
what I want to do now, I want you to tell me what you're doing now. What are you doing in the present?
Well, like I told you, I had a very bad problem with drugs and alcohol. And I gave myself to the Lord. And a lot of people call it recovery. But I'm walking in healing, repentance, and deliverance right now under the power of the Lord Jesus Christ. I'm a pastor, evangelist. I try to share the problems that I had with drugs and alcohol and the problem I had with addiction, period, with the young men out in the street, you know, and I've got a book that I wrote called Sin Anonymous. And a program.
So you are writing a book.
I'm writing 2 or 3 books.
Okay.
And Sin Anonymous is a unique program that I run out of my church. And it's a program that helps people with unique issues that's kind of too sensitive for the main body of the church. Otherwise, you don't want to talk about these things around everything because everybody can't handle everything. But the textbook addresses unique issues, and we spell it out, and we help people that want help. You know, God accepts you just like you are,
Yes.
if you want to change. Now, if you don't want to change, He keep
If
you
you
right.
repent.
You got to want to change.
Yes.
Okay, and I don't care what the situation is. A lot of people don't understand certain situations. That's why it's called Sin Anonymous. And we have people that are there that have got victory over certain situations. And it's the kind of program that help with these people that got the victory, help the people that's trying to get the victory. So it's really a self-help program. The text I wrote, it took me 6 years to write the text. it's a textbook, just like the NAAA book.
Okay.
All right, the Sin Anonymous book is like that. It's a textbook.
And is it out? Where is it for purchase?
No, right now, no, we're not selling these
You're not.
books.
You're just giving them away.
No, well,
Well, how do
we
you-
have people that donate. They buy the books, we give out. It's like tracts. Otherwise, people buy the books. Okay, say they somebody bought 100 books,
Okay.
we give them out free.
Oh, they buy 100 books, but they really don't take them.
Yeah.
They just purchase them.
Yes,
and
they can
they're
take the
at-
books. They can take books too, but
Yeah.
a lot of people
Just leave them for
yeah,
others.
yeah.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Yeah, well, we're trying to get into the prisons because it's definitely needed in the prisons, and we deal with very sensitive issues. According to society, we deal with homosexuality. We deal with everything, okay? And you know, like we need to know that in every scenario, there are people that want to get free from some things. Some people don't want to get free.
Sure, definitely.
But the people that want to get free, we want to help them get free. And we got people that are walking in the victory that can help them, you know, walk in the freedom of whatever they bound to. So that's one book. And then I'm doing an biography. And then
what
I'm,
they were talking about.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I'm
Okay.
working on that too. And I got a book.
What's some of the stuff that's in that book? Can we have a...
Oh man, I start from the time I start from the age of 7,
Okay.
and I up into this present time,
Okay.
and like there's a lot of stuff. It's a lot of stuff, and I guarantee you, it'll be at least about 300, 400 pages.
Is that going to be for purchase or?
That's going to
That's
be
gonna
for purchase. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
So, and
Well,
then
we're going to be looking out for that book.
and then I got another book. It's called Why Did I Change My Understanding about the Lord? And then I explain because I study ancient Black history,
Okay.
and a lot of people don't know about our history, our ancient Black history. And I think if some of these youth would know who they really were, they stop trying to be Al Capone or Betty Boo or whoever, you know, because who we really are, if we just step in that arena, okay, and just be who we really are, we'll be somebody, okay? And when we came over in ships, okay, all that identity was taken from us. Well, I did some digging for years. I've been digging for years, okay? And I found out who we are. And I found out who stole our identity.
Okay.
Okay, now I can't tell you everything, but it's going to be in the book.
Were you working with Shoe Baby on any of that?
No. I know you, baby. Though. How you do?
He doing that. He's got a little museum he's trying to put together.
Oh, is
Yeah,
that
he
right?
has a museum that he's putting together.
I need to talk to him.
Yeah.
It's Black Museum, Black History.
I need to talk to you, baby. I like him. He's a good guy.
So he's working hard on that. You know, so we want to support him on that endeavor too.
Yeah.
But you know, you've had such a, you know, my heart is really filled. I mean, with all the things you've been through, God has brought you this far. You know, I mean, how did you do it? I mean, how did you do it all? I mean, what?
I think it was a prayer that I prayed that I didn't know I prayed when I was young. And I sat up and I said, God, this has got to be something better than what I'm seeing. When I see all these people getting killed and it's dangerous walking out my house. And I was a young boy and I said that. And then God took me all around and I found out that wherever there's poverty, you got crime.
Yeah.
And I've been to China and poverty is crime. Vietnam, poverty is crime. And Singapore, wherever there's poverty, there's crime. It ain't got nothing to do with color. Where people are not struggling, you got crime. Okay? And in America, wherever people are struggling, it's crime. I don't care if they're black, white, red, yellow. If they're struggling, there's crime. Okay? And I found out that the stigmatism that they tried to put on us as a people, okay, is a lie. Okay?
Yes.
And that's what made me
a lie,
dig
yes.
into ancient black history.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but that's another program altogether.
That's true.
I don't
That's
even want to.
true,
I don't
yeah.
even want to get into that right now. But that was my motivation, and in digging, I found out some things, that most people really don't know, and I'm writing a book about that too.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah.
that's good. You know, you've done a lot, but now you're married now.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Are you
Aretha.
happily married?
Oh yes, I'm happily married.
There's
My wife wakes up and say, "I'm happy with the life I live."
Oh wow!
And I say, "Okay."
All right.
You know, I love my wife.
Yes.
She's a
You
good.
are the recipient of another of Sam's talents. On this past, what is February 14th?
Uh-huh. Oh yes,
Valentine's
yes,
Day?
yes. Thank you, thank you. That is a hidden talent. Let's talk about that for a minute. Those beautiful valentines.
Oh, yeah.
Those flowers.
You know, T Life. I'm gonna get you for this, T. Now let me
Yes.
tell you. I've been doing flowers for quite a while. I've been doing
They
flowers.
were beautiful.
I've done
Sam.
flowers
Beautiful.
for almost 35 years, and it was just something that I picked up. Well, I was a bad boy, and I was trying to figure out how I can get drugs free without spending my money for that I had for my family. So I was trying to get drugs free so I could do drugs, right? But then when I met the Lord, He said, "Well, you can't sell drugs no more." I said, "Well, God, give me something different." So I went over to Friend Flower Shop
Sam,
at
love you.
from Broad. I went up to Broad Negro, and this guy, my friend Larry Brewington, he was sitting up there. He was making Larry used to come to all my shows. He used to throw me big birthday parties and everything, and had his flower shop, and I never had been there, but he brought me there, and they was making these buckets of flowers. It was about 5 or 6 buckets. I said, "Now what you gonna do with that?" He said, "Guess what? I'm gonna sell every last one of these in the next hour."
Wow.
And he took the flowers
Wow.
and he put them in front of his store. And I'm telling you, in the 1 hour, he sold every last one of them flowers. They selling more than crack. So I said, "Okay, God, that's what you want me to do." So he showed me. And so I sat there with Larry and I sucked up everything that he was doing. And I learned there and I started reading books. And now there's nothing I can't do with flowers.
The bouquet of flowers were just absolutely gorgeous.
All right.
And I could tell they were specially made.
Yeah.
Because it was just beautiful. And,
Well, he told me.
and I took pictures of these flowers. And I can send it to you, T. They're beautiful.
Well, T told me that I need to put my stuff on Facebook, and every once in a while I put them on there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
And
you know.
Gilbert brought the flowers in, and he showed me these flowers, and he told me the story behind it. Thank you so very, very much.
Well, I'm so happy that I can make you happy,
yes,
Miss James.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
But what I want to say is that you have touched me tonight.
Well,
Okay,
God
and I'm
be the
sure
glory.
you have touched some of our Facebook family and friends with your heartwarming story. Okay, and God has taken care of you all these many years and took you all overseas and brought you back, and you're still doing a good job. And now, not that you weren't then, but now you're really into the Lord. And so that's just an example of all the things that's yet to come.
Amen.
Gilbert and I are we're always gold diggers. We're always looking for something new to
Amen.
do, and we have some things that we're going to get you
Well,
involved in.
I'd be glad to be
Yes,
involved.
we have some
You
real
know,
good things
yeah,
coming up.
because I know it's not vanity. I know it's to help people.
Yeah, it's
so,
to help
and
people.
that's the most important thing. You know, we really got to be concerned about our youth now.
Yes.
We really do, because they have really jumped off the cliff a little bit, you know. And I don't know what happened to the moral fiber and etiquette and the respect. It's like it's just thrown After when I went in a store the other day and I seen a man with a Glock in the back of his pocket.
Yeah.
And then his young boy and his pants was hanging off his thing. I said, now, you know, he got to be crazy. All I got to do is just go grab the gun, give him a leg shot, and walk down the street with the gun. I mean, his pants just hanging off with the gun in his back pocket. I said, now, what? Only sense I can make out of this is this guy just wanted to be seen.
Yeah.
Our kids have just went crazy. So we got to help them.
We got to pray for him and we got to help him.
That's right.
Okay.
We got to help.
Okay, so Gilbert's giving me 5 minutes, so I got to get out of here. But what I want to say, this portion of our program was brought to you by Ellie's Closet Boutique, and that's located at 247 South 60th Street in Philadelphia. And we want to thank our sponsors for sponsoring our program tonight. We want to thank you, Facebook fans and friends, for participating in our show. Thank you, Gilbert. We want to thank all of our followers, Facebook followers. You can follow my show on Facebook. You can like and subscribe on YouTube channel, and you can check the program out on Instagram. It's just so many things we're trying to do. And Sam, to you, I want to say, God has given you so many gifts, so many blessings, and you have shared this with us. And we really appreciate it. You have really done well for the music industry, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart.
All right. Thank you so much. I love you too, Doris. And thank you, my friend. God bless both of y'all for the opportunity.
And next week, excuse me, we're going to have Valerie Ford from Philly Cream. She will be our guest next week. Please join
Philly
in.
Cream.
Thank you, and we're out of here.
God bless you.
Thank you, Facebook. Thank you.